everyone to executive committee on June 9th, 6:30 p.m. Sorry, Eric, I did not update the agenda correctly.
It's okay. I actually, it's a little bit of a different form of minutes because I had to take from an old one. So please excuse me, it's not.
All right, if we can have a roll call, please.
Mr. Fisher is absent. Dr. Fisher.
Here.
Ms. Crimer.
Here.
Ms. Mayo.
Here,
Motion to excuse David.
I'll make a motion.
Second. All in favor? Great. Let's see, has everybody had a chance to review the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, motion to.
So I don't think Jim Putoff will be here today.
Okay, so I can move that to pending, so we can get that report at some point. Any other adjustments?
The engineering proposal, we have a copy of that?
No.
That'll be,
that's actually-
yeah, you'll,
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it, so we'll leave it on there, but we are not gonna be able to make a decision.
Okay.
All right, so motion to pass the agenda as modified, moving Jim Putoff's presentation to pending items.
Okay, I'll second that.
All right, all in favor? Great. Okay, first up on the agenda is to approve the minutes from our May 12th committee meeting.
And I meant to email you, I found a couple, the date. And I didn't preside that meeting. That's because she copied and pasted it.
It's just the same one.
So Monday, April 7th, I think it was like May 12th or something.
oh, so I corrected in one line and not the other. Okay.
Okay, yeah. And then you were here for that one, right? The last meeting? I did it for April, so yeah, I did not preside the meeting.
The time as well. Here, you got 6 and 7.
Which one was it? It was 7.
It was 7.
It would have been 7.
Okay.
And yes, I did preside for that one.
It would have been 7, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but I think that's it. I'm sorry, I could have emailed you
You're
that
fine.
earlier.
It's all
Totally
good.
forgot.
I'm used to it at this point.
Sorry. You know I don't review it until
Do
the
your
day.
job,
of.
Mel.
All right, but I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
All right, all in favor?
I,
All right, thank you. Next on the agenda is village administrator's review. I sent that out. I think it's important for us to just talk over what the themes were and address anything that you all might want to. For me, what I saw is, that came up over and over again was just communication, and role clarity. It looks like a lot of the feedback was around the objectives were outdated and they didn't feel very specific to the administrator's role. So when the mayor works with the administrator and it's unclear whether executive is gonna have a hand in that, like we tried to last year on the objectives, these are some of the things that I think will be important for us to address. Anything else before we move on?
no, I don't guess not.
Any other themes or concerns that I did not alert?
I just saw a lot of inconsistencies in people's responses, which I think goes with the objectives. Like if the objectives were clearer and better measured, then we might have more consistency.
Yeah, yep. That feels fair.
Like it just seems like some people have a better idea what's going on than others, essentially. So that's just to get on to the communication, essentially, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Like everybody's not getting the same updates or something.
We don't have a great mechanism for making sure everything is communicated.
Right.
All right, we will go ahead and move on to the next one. So the background check policy, we only have 30 minutes in our meetings for the summer. There were lots of concerns that came up, or questions, I'll say, that came up for the background check, specifically around who does it apply to.
Right.
I know ours initially came out that it would go just to the Parks and Rec Commission, whatever they're actually called.
It's Recreation Commission, yeah.
Okay. But there was also a suggestion from our solicitor that anybody that's handling money, initially, I think the idea was anybody that could be working with children would get a background check. There was a suggestion about anybody working with money. I don't think we should hash that out in any of our 30 minutes, but what I would like is maybe as 2 people volunteering to look at that in detail, thinking through the different scenarios and coming back with a proposed background check.
I am swamped with the other stuff. I can't do it.
Yeah.
With all the events coming up.
Um,
I mean, I did take time to review it though. Like there was one, like without getting into details, like, is there a reason why we have like DUI checks? Like if you have DUI that could hurt against you, like we don't right. So I mean, there's some things on there that they just come standard. It doesn't matter, but, like I definitely think being, working with money and working with kids are, to me, should be really the only things we should be checking for.
Right, and I think, there's a difference between like what the reports are gonna tell us versus what we actually deem as like something that, we
That's
cannot
fair.
move forward with
Right.
on. And that didn't seem very clear to me. I think it just said it was up to the administrator, or maybe it was up to I think it just said the administrator to decide. But are we using like Ohio collateral sanctions based on, Ohio revised code, or are we deciding?
Okay. Yeah, because I saw like a case by case basis, which it depends on who's like you get like it gets kind of sticky when you say that.
So that's why, and it also talks about like volunteer applications, and that's different, I feel like, than committee or commission members.
Okay, tracking,
Right, so like
yeah,
this Pat with Parks and Rec is trying to like, recruit more volunteers, so we're
Right.
asking every volunteer to do this.
right,
We don't know how many volunteers, so what is the real goal?
yeah,
So maybe what we can do is actually just identify like what we think is the real sticky points, and then I will bring it back.
yeah, because basically who is subject to this is the biggest question, because that's not even listed in here at
Is it
all.
all committee, commissions, and boards, or
Right.
just this one?
Right, just that one, and is it the volunteers who are supporting these events and all that stuff too, so,
And then what's the exclusion criteria?
right,
Mhm.
right. And then who interprets all of it too. So yeah, questions are fair.
Okay. All right. All right, so who's subject, what exclusions? Did I miss another one?
It's just who determines, who
Yeah, who
interprets,
determines.
who like, yeah.
Okay,
Also, just what the timeframe is, 'cause,
Right.
depending on when events are and when people are volunteering, if they're just showing up and things like that.
right.
So, and it looks like too, the first couple are free, like as in included, we'll say the police department takes care of it, but then it sounds like if you need the second one, you have to pay for that out of your own pocket or something.
Yeah.
Directly
Directly where you're looking
It's
at
the second
in the
two.
policy.
Let me see, the RCIC and the NCIC, I think we are covering, and then, what does it say? What was it?
I also saw something like that,
Section 5, name
Additional-
initial background checks should be performed by our police department using the RCIC, NCIC system. If additional screening is required, the applicant will be referred to HCSO and obtain
Hamilton
the,
County Sheriff's Office.
uh-huh,
For the, what?
and the applicant bearing costs of the additional screening.
Which one are you looking for, page?
So an agenda is page 9 out of 68, with 5 checks to be conducted per sentence.
Okay.
it says that the applicant will bear the cost, and if they don't want to, then they
But then
can't
we're also
volunteer.
not specifying when you would need a foreign individual asset control versus
Yeah, so.
whatever those things are. Okay.
So, question for you, Reed, is so for the first two, the RCIC and the NCIC, like if I were a volunteer and I need to get this background check, how long does it take you to get that? Is it just like talk to you for 10 minutes and you print it out, or does it take a week?
I can get your information, your name, in 10 seconds.
And that's it, you just run it, you got the data right then and there? Okay,
But you're just doing.
the first two.
Yeah. Well, wait, the first two on the social security trace and then the county and state. Is that what you're talking about?
The RCIC and the NCIC.
You're back up to the other definitions. Okay.
Sorry, yeah, because those are the
Right.
ones that.
So
the
we're not
police-
doing fingerprint background checks, which is, if you're working with kids, that's probably the most important one.
Yeah, basically, the point is that those are the two free ones, and I want to know how long it takes. So if we get volunteer, like if we decide to open this up, like if you're a volunteer helping rec, and you like can we know like the day of and we just get your background check done within 24 hours ultimately?
Do we also understand the history of this? Like, why are we doing this now? We've never done this before. Do we know what?
My understanding is there were background checks. This
They've
was
always done background checks. It just wasn't for.
because
It's
the
just never had a policy?
Recreation
We just
Commission
never had a policy.
died years ago.
Yeah.
So therefore, nothing was done for many, many years. And my understanding was this was an update of the policy. Is that correct? Maybe it's just a rebirth.
Doing of it. I don't know that we had something this extensive, this detailed.
So we'd always done background checks for parks and recreation
Mhm.
specifically, but not any other volunteers.
That I'm not sure. I thought it was all volunteers. But it was more of an ad hoc basis. It wasn't, again, as.
So y'all
detailed.
picked who y'all thought was criminals and
Pardon?
said we need.
No.
Okay. Confirm
And
what
a
I
lot of
heard.
it was,
Huh?
That's what I heard.
I
a lot
mean,
of it was self-reporting.
okay.
I mean, there was a questionnaire where people had to report if they'd had any contacts with the police, which, in any state, which caused one particular individual to lose his mind, which told us all we had to know.
So where was that information self-reported? Because it's not on the, like, committee or commission questionnaire.
Not now. Yeah. But he's saying previously when they used to do it.
So you had them self-report what might come up on a background
Yeah,
check?
I think
and then- Okay.
We did the local as well, but there was no formal policy, it was just, we did it for volunteers.
So we were doing it previously, possibly haphazardly, and now we're trying to create a process, a policy to make it more of a process.
Yes.
Thank you, that's helpful information. Okay, all right, so we can table this. I will take a stab at tweaking it based on these questions or concerns, and then bring it back either the next meeting or the following. All right, what is next on this agenda?
Parks.
Actually, Eric, do you have a copy of my agenda?
I do.
Can I actually get that?
Yes.
You got like 5 screens back. Can't possibly
There you go.
remember. Thank you. Okay, annual code enforcement, we tabled that. Depending, so the Parks Master Plan, we still have the 2 revised proposals that were sent out to the 2 companies that responded. The engineers, I understand, had a meeting last week and had more questions, and we'll put something together, but it's going to take them 2 weeks to get that to us. In my understanding of that, they also, it sounds like somebody had put together a list of priorities for the park design list. And that was shared with the engineers. It only feels fair that that goes back out to our 2 companies that formally responded to the RFP to make sure that we're keeping things fair and equitable. I do think it is important to note that this park design list does not match the park questionnaire that was done in the fall of 2023. So for example, you'll see walking path, we know, that's clear, everybody wants that. There's soccer league fields on here, that was never mentioned in the park survey that our community did. Dugout and scoreboard for the baseball field, that didn't come up either. Pickleball courts, I don't know where that came from. Basketball courts, splash pad. Here it says upgrades to the amphitheater. Really, we talked about being able to play movies in the park. So some of these things we did get from surveys, right, to the community, but some of them I don't know where they come from. So I think it is important to note that and decide, is this actually the priority list? But the biggest piece is, I don't think it's fair that we gave this to the engineers without giving this to the 2 design companies.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'll also add, I'm going to be a proponent for football only because I specifically remember us not asking that on the survey. If, how you feel about football, but one of the little boys at one of these events, he wrote football on there. All the other little boys came back. And I'll never forget. I was like, we didn't even think of that. And when they were able to take the charge on that, that's what they wanted. So I like the idea, and I'm sure that was captured in the survey, I think. But as far as it being on this park design, I'm going to be an advocate for, and to me, football and soccer, that's a big open field. So you can probably, depending on how you paint the stripes, essentially you can give, maybe one year you do one and one year you do the other or whatever.
Yeah.
So I would like to see, football actually as a priority.
Yeah, I don't see it on the park survey.
It wasn't, I'm
It is on
surprised.
the park survey.
Okay,
It's just not in the, it's not in the ranked.
The did
It's
they
on the
just
second page, I believe.
okay.
Okay,
But you can find it in the document. There
okay.
are
Thanks for that.
specific and.
Yeah, because I
it's
remember
specific,
football coming up, but I didn't see
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I distinctly recall one of those little boys wanting football, and they all was like, yeah, man, we want football. I'm like, all right, well, that's easier for us than basketball, like.
Okay. So I guess, what are the thoughts about this list? Does it need some updating? Does this feel okay? To me, it feels misaligned with what we heard from the community.
I mean, just get the information to, let them have the same information. Like if this is what we gave to,
Yeah.
JMA, let's go ahead.
What
and
I
do
would
it.
recommend, and this is based on my conversation with Brittany earlier today,
Okay.
is to include the park survey with the list
Okay,
and say, the park survey determines the priority.
yeah,
The list is just a list.
Yeah.
They're all ideas.
Okay.
But the park survey determines the priority. And
Okay.
whatever's in the park survey, that's what they should be focusing on taking seriously. That coupled with the request for feasibility study, cost estimates, and 3 different renderings
Yeah.
should give them enough to give us a
Okay.
quote. This is how much that cost to put together.
okay. We're learning how to write a proposal, a call for proposal.
I'm absolutely learning that. The feedback I got from, or that I heard from JMA, and then, just the overly broad language, I think is something that we can all take to heart and say, okay, overly broad means much more expensive. Let's narrow it down.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I listened to the perk survey and this list and asked for those things to our 2 companies that responded to the RFP
Okay.
and TBD.
All right. Hopefully we can actually make a decision next month. This has been going on a while.
I hope so. Should the county wants
That,
to know
that, that wasn't shade, that wasn't, but I know, it's just, we owe our residents, they filled out this
Yep.
survey a year or 2 ago, and we need to move.
All right, updates to committee priorities. Pay equity, that should start in the next month or 2. I also got an email from the, who are those people? Put us on the map, city health data, and we should be added on June 26th. So very exciting. Our health banner will show up on your dashboard on June 26th. So that should be happening as well.
Okay, so stupid question, who provides them with the data? They're just showing it out they have the data collected elsewhere, and they're just basically publicly showing it?
Great question.
We're not responsible for collecting
So I
and
think
giving
it's
it to them,
coming
right?
from multiple sources,
Okay.
right? So some of the data is collected at the county level and at the state level, but the county, it's expensive to aggregate it down to just our tiny little
Okay,
block, right? Because we're also a shared zip code with
right,
other municipalities, so we're never gonna be able to see information specific to Goff Manor at the county level, but they will pull that. And that's why we had we applied for it as a grant, because this costs money to do, and we would never be able to afford it,
okay,
right? So they're gonna pull it from all different sources and put that together.
okay.
Okay, website AV upgrades, now you really talked about that in community engagement, so
Yeah.
we just give it, and I heard the tail end, and
Yeah.
documented you were there. Management audit, David gave me an update for that one. This is not the right agenda, because I put, Dr. Menace stuff on it.
Is it not?
Unless I lost my mind. Yeah, so management audit, David will have an update for us at the next meeting. By then, he will have finished all of his one-on-one interviews with everybody, so coming soon, but that is in progress.
Nice.
And then, Dr. Mena, I had put yours on the agenda.
Under old business on the left, I see
see
a
it on the
bullet point.
I have it here on onboarding collaborative tool. Is that what?
Yeah, I guess I just moved it on in a sec. Okay, all right, do you have an update for us on that one?
Yeah, I've been working on that. I actually prompted AI to go through all of our charter and
Oh, nice.
ordinances and everything, and summarize for me what would be the most useful for someone starting on council without any background
Yeah.
in the village. And then I'm sort of prompting that down to
Yeah.
create a sort of onboarding handbook.
See good use for it.
What?
That's actually a good
So
use
very
for
good
it.
use.
Why didn't I read them all?
Yeah, it was
Don't interpret it, just read it back.
But what I think I'm gonna ask of the council members is I'll send maybe like a couple question survey just for you guys to fill out,
Yeah.
like what would have been helpful for you, what information would you would have wanted to see and things like that, so that I can incorporate that feedback into what I'm creating.
Awesome. Do you have, do you have any idea of like when you would be sending that survey? Not to commit you in
Yeah.
concrete, but.
No, I would hope like within the next week or so.
Oh, so, okay.
Got it.
That means I got work to do.
Great. I don't have anything else. Yeah, we talked about pay equity,
We could have
website
had that.
management, and onboarding. All right. Next, executive committee meeting is July 7th, 2025 at 6:30 PM. And motion to adjourn.
First.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
That was quicker than my meeting. What's up with
5
that?
minutes to
Okay,
spare.
let me kill the feed, sorry. You're moving faster than my fingers can
No,
type,
that's
and that
fine.
means
I haven't
something.
said anything